I will start with Senate Minority Leader Dick Saslaw, who was first elected to the Senate in 1980 after serving 2 terms in the House of Delegates. Following redistricting, Dick represents areas of Alexandria, Fairfax, and Falls Church. He serves on the Education and Health Committee, Finance, Rules, Commerce, and Labor, as well as Courts of Justice, and as a conferee in negotiating the Virginia budget since 2008. For several years, he was the only Jewish member of that 40-person chamber and was a defender of reproductive rights, fair treatment of immigrants, and other vulnerable communities. Dick is a longtime small business owner. His priorities are working to improve public education, maintain a business-friendly climate, and find solutions to the ever-present transportation problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Thank you all for hosting this. As it was pointed out, I've been this January, I'll be starting my 38th year, and it gets even better. That's 38 years, and I've never been indicted. Okay. Not a lot of people can say that in this line of work. The bills, you got to remember, this is an election year coming up. And you've got the entire House of Delegates, that's me. The entire House of Delegates is running for re-election. And in addition to that, you've got the races for governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. It's extremely hard to pass any revenue increasing bills, tax increases. In fact, since 1986, when we increased the gas tax and created the 0.5%. We took the sales tax that year from 4% to 4.5%, with that 0.5% being used for transportation. There's been no taxes raised until Mark Warner raised the sales tax 0.5% in 2004. Prior to him doing that, and it's, Vivian Watts had remarked about my opposition to using general funds. Prior to that happening, we were 48th in America in what we gave public schools, Virginia. And keep in mind, on a per capita income basis, we're the 7th wealthiest state in America. All right? So we were 48th. And I used to tell people, and that's where she picked that up, I used to tell people, I'd go to bed and I'd say, thank God for Alabama and Mississippi. Right. Otherwise, we'd have been dead last. We're 47th, you heard, in what we do for Medicaid funding. Medicaid reimbursement. We are 37th in now, even after raising the sales tax 0.5%. We're 37th in state ranking in what we give public schools. When I first got to Richmond, the public education budget was 50% of the general fund. It's down to 35% now. Every time you take $1 out of that general fund, you take 35 cents from public schools, 14 cents from colleges. We're not doing what we need to be doing. I'd love to run the government for free, but we can't. And to give you an idea of what we've done at the higher education level, VCU is operating now on the same budget they had in 2002, but the difference is they had 19,800 students then, they've got 28,000 students now. And they're being asked to operate on the same budget. When they raised the tuition 25%, I didn't get a single complaint. I did not get a single complaint because those students knew that if they didn't do that, they were going to have to cut courses. Which would have meant they'd had to go an extra semester. You heard what Debbie said. You're probably going to see the same. I'll stop in a second, okay? You're probably going to see the same social, legislation you've seen before. There may be some curtailing of that because, the speaker, observed what went on in November, and so a lot of that legislation is not a plus, for either party. I'm just not optimistic on us getting revenue-raising bills through the General Assembly in an election year, and you really have to have a governor who is pushing it. Mills Godwin created the sales tax and he used that to pay for the community college system. We had no sales tax. Mills Godwin couldn't get we'd have no community college system today if Mills Godwin was governor and wanted to create it because you couldn't get a sales tax bill through the General Assembly. That created our community college system, which now has a couple 100,000 students. None of this, would exist. He raised the gas tax. Dalton raised the gas tax. Rob didn't, Belials did. In fact, at the federal level, Ronald Reagan raised the federal gas tax twice. In fact, he more than doubled it. And he knew you couldn't build roads without it. And therein lies a large part of our problem. So generally, when you have the situation that we have now where the entire House of Delegates is up for re-election, the statewide offices are running, are up for re-election, or up for election. We don't have re-election, but anyhow, I don't think you're going to see, I'd be shocked if you had a lot of activity this year as far as being able to get, and it turned out to be fruitful. There are some people, you can't control what they do. Would it be fair to say Bob Marshall? And let me tell you something. Bill Howe, who's the Speaker of the House, is a very close personal friend of mine. He and Ceci, Eleanor, and I go out to dinner together. We're good friends. I would not want his job. But this is a tough year to get things done. That's the point I want to get across.
I'd like to introduce Senator Chap Peterson, who began serving the 34th Senate District in 2008 after serving in the House of Delegates. He defeated incumbents in both his House and Senate runs in districts that are centered around the city of Fairfax, and district now includes where we are right now,
Absolutely.
the Jewish Community Center of Northern Virginia. He's an attorney and serves on the Privileges and Elections, General Laws and Technology, as well as Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. And he has been involved in legislation to protect our environment and energy policies and expand access to higher education. Senator.
Well, thank you. And first of all, I want to, how many folks were here when Tim Hugo and I had our debate about 2 months ago? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Well, we had a debate here. I see one person. Thank you, Mel. We had a debate here, and I like to think it actually kind of turned the tide for Obama in Virginia, but unfortunately that has not been acknowledged by the administration. But the bottom line is
He's blaming that campaign on
yeah. Something did it. Anyways, I want to thank you all for hosting us, and that was a great event, and thank you for having us here. I do represent the 34th Senate District, which by and large is centered right in the middle of Fairfax County, although it's shaped a little bit like a chicken. This is kind of the breast right here. There's the head up around Vienna, Dunloring, and the tail feathers go all the way out to Centerville, Chantilly. So anyways, Dick kind of summarized, and I don't usually like to counter him too much in public, but yeah, I do actually. I will be putting some bills in. I'm, as all of us are, I'm a part-time politician. I'm a full-time attorney. This is my law partner right here, Scott Suravel. And so I really don't focus on a lot of political issues until we get within 30 days of the session. And now we're starting to get there. So I've started to put things into drafting form. I'm starting to think more about the issues and kind of focus on what we want to accomplish. The number one issue for me, as our economy is kind of gotten back on its feet. We haven't talked about fiscal cliff, and I know we might get a question on that, but assuming that we all hold together in January 1, 2013, we're all still here, I still think transportation is the number one issue in this area that remains unsolved. And the fact that we do not have a sustainable state revenue, that we have relied on federal stimulus funding, which is by nature arbitrary, is a major problem, a long-term problem from us. And Dick went into a little of the details. Senator John Watkins of Chesterfield will be putting in a bill. I'm going to be putting in a bill that will be a little simpler. And one thing that I want to bring to the table, and I give credit to my colleague to the left here, Mr. Suravel, is the representation on the Commonwealth Transportation Board, which actually distributes transportation money in Virginia. It's not enough, in my opinion, to simply raise taxes in Virginia for transportation. You also have to do systemic reform on how we distribute the money. And to me, that's something that needs to be a part of any transportation bill, and I will have a bill in that will try and couple those two items together. The details will be coming soon to a newspaper near you, but I have that. That's one of the bills I'm going to work on. I have a bunch of other bills. I will have some environmental bills, some of the standard bills I've carried before, some with more success than others. Another bill I'll have in, Mr. Stone mentioned I'm on the P&E Committee, Privileges and Elections. I'll have in a constitutional amendment to restore voting rights for felons who have served their terms and return to society. I'm not really much of a politician, but I am a historic scholar, or I try to be. And felonies have changed so much in my lifetime, where it used to be a felony was a capital offense under English law. And now we felonize so many crimes, and so people that commit a felony, oftentimes when they're younger, they serve the time, they serve the sentence, they're put back into society, and they don't get a chance to participate. They don't serve on juries, they can't vote, and I really think that's a stigma that in the long term needs to be addressed if they have rejoined society and become a contributing member. So that's a bill I'll have in along with some of the others. So I don't want to monopolize the time. I know a lot of you know me anyway and you're used to hearing me talk, but hi Marlene, how are you? It's great to see you, and Bruce, good to see you. And if you ever need to reach me, chap@fairfaxsenator.com. Thanks.